So I often talk about how Republicans are a lot more organized in their efforts to destroy the country in terms of their politics, which is mainly horrible. But I want to do a prime example today because I came across this article when I woke up, and it showcases how the Republican Party and conservatism in general in the U.S. tends to move together. So we have a piece here. Revealed, U.S. conservative think tanks links to extremist fraternal order. Let's go ahead and read the article. It's pretty long. I'm not going to read all of it, of course, but I do want to touch on a few key points. The president of the right-wing Claremont Institute and another senior Claremont official are both closely involved with the shadowy Society for American Civic Renewal, SACR, an exclusive men-only fraternal order which aims to replace the U.S. government with an authoritarian aligned regime, and which experts say is rooted in extreme Christian nationalism and religious autocracy. Now, keep in mind, if this sounds familiar, it is because it is kind of similar, I would say, to Project 2025, which is another Christian nationalist far-right goal that wants to get Donald Trump in office so they can slowly chip away at the administrative state, along with a bunch of other crazy goals in terms of nonstop attacks on the LGBTQ community, basically making their lives illegal for the most part, and even getting rid of things like adult content. It's really extreme. But anyways, let's go ahead and continue. The revelations emerged from documents gathered in public records requests, including emails between several senior members of SACR. Claremont President Ryan P. Williams, its director of state coalitions, and Boise State University professor Scott Yenor, and others including former soap manufacturer and would-be quote-unquote warlord Charles Haywood. This was a crazy guy that wanted to be a warlord, and he went on some really weird rant about it. The trove also contains an internal SACR mission statement with a far more radical edge than the public vision, now recorded on the organization's website. The document speaks of recruiting a brotherhood who will form the backbone of a renewed American regime and who understands the nature of authority and its legitimate forceful exercise, whose objectives include to collect, curate, and document a list of potential appointees and hires for a renewed American regime. The document does not indicate that such renewal will take place through participation in electoral contest, and nor does it make mention of the U.S. Constitution. Along with the financial links between SACR and Claremont, The Guardian previously reported Claremont's $26,248 donation to SACR in 2020. The documents raise questions as to what extent SACR is an initiative of the Claremont Institute and to what extent its participants have abandoned liberal, secular, or democratic politics. So as we see here, it is pretty nutty. Let's go ahead and continue because it does get a bit worse. Scott Yenor is a professor of political science at Idaho's Boise State University and simultaneously the senior director of state coalitions at the Claremont Institute. His Claremont appointment came in February 2023. Media reports at that time indicated that Yenor would be working closely with the Florida governor Ron DeSanctimonious and DeSantis-aligned legislators. Hard word to get out for some reason at time. When the job was announced, the governor's wife, Casey DeSantis, tweeted, "Thrilled to welcome Scott Yenor from the Claremont Institute to his new home in Tallahassee." Reporting in the New York Times last month put Yenor at the center of a network of activists tied to Claremont and other right-wing nonprofits to wage an anti-DEI crusade against diversity, equity, and inclusion measures in educational institutions, corporations, and public agencies, which is similar to Christopher Rufo, because years back, Christopher Rufo, who is a part of a think tank, openly admitted on his own Twitter that the goal of critical race theory was to tie it down to anything that could be deemed a kind of like far out there in their opinions, and they would tack that nonstop and label basically everything they didn't like as CRT, and among conservatives at least, they ate it up. So it's clear propaganda. These guys aren't stupid. They know what they're doing. Behind the scenes, the guys who are making all of these propaganda efforts, these people aren't stupid. They know what they're doing. They're very dangerous individuals. Let's go ahead and keep going, because I'm going to skip a bit here. So The Guardian reported last September that Fisher, a Claremont Lincoln Fellow, was president of SACR's Dallas Lodge and owns a firm that has won hundreds of thousands of dollars in government ammunition contracts. He also owns another firm that helped produce videos in which Claremont chairman Thomas Klingenstein, in which he exhorted right-wingers to join a quote-unquote cold civil war against, quote, woke communist, end quotes. Moving down further here, this is in regards to their mission, dominance and authority in a new aligned regime. So, I mean, they're just using the word regime. And whenever you use the word regime yourself, probably indicates you're kind of unhinged. But anyways, let's get back into it. The SACR document contains two versions of the organization's mission statement, one public and one internal. We talked about this earlier, but let's go ahead and get into the details of that now. Along with a list of objectives for the organization. Its authenticity as a working document is indicated by the current vision articulated on SACR's website, which currently features what appears to be a reworked version of the public mission statement. The 2021 document envisions a vigorous civic renewal that will reflect the past while facing the future, while the website sets out a, quote, new thing for a new day informed by the wisdom of the past but facing the future. Each version promises to, quote, reclaim a humane vision of society, end quote. A harder-edged internal mission statement, however, stands out in stark contrast to these public presentations. It first announces, our aim is to build and maintain a robust network of capable men who can reverse our society's decline and return us to the successful path of which America has strayed. It says, I'll read this part too. The document says the organization's founders are unhyphenated Americans, and we believe in a particular Christianity that is not blurred by modernist philosophies. Oh yeah, I bet. It says we are willing to act decisively to secure permanently, as much as anything is permanent, the political and social dominance of their beliefs. In terms of recruiting, the document says, most of all, we seek those who understand the nature of authority and its legitimate forceful exercise in the temporal realm. Further down, the document specifies 5 organizational objectives that encompass business practice, the grooming of new and emerging elites within SACR, and the experts say, apparently, insurrectionary political project. So absolutely unhinged stuff here. The first objective is to identify and provide formation for local elites capable of exercising authority and who are aligned with our goals of complete civic renewal, and warning that concrete temporal achievements not furthering intellectual discussion. The second objective is to help those local elites build fraternal networks which will advance both the members of those networks and our collective goals, including the direct I can't speak. The direct preferential treatment for our members, especially in business. I don't know why I found that word to be so hard to pronounce. The third objective is to coordinate across the fraternal networks to bring political awareness to matters such as hiring, promotions, award contracts, internal policies and procedures, and leadership succession. And fifth objective is to collect, curate, and document a list of potential appointees and hires for aligned future regime, which we talked about earlier. So why does this matter? Because these are all interconnected. And keep in mind, the person who is a key figure in the Claremont Institute is John Eastman. So let's go ahead and pull that over. So John Eastman, if you are familiar with John Eastman, is one of Trump's many lawyers who is also facing disbarment in the state of California for his role in helping Donald Trump trying to turn the 2020 election. And now he is also believed to be one of the 6 co-conspirators in the Justice Department indictment against Donald Trump. But let's talk about the Claremont Institute, because let's go here real quick. So the Claremont Institute provides fellowships, and these fellowships have went to prominent figures such as Laura Ingraham, Ben Shapiro, Mark Levin, Mary Kessel, and Charles C. Johnson. So whenever I tell you that Republicans and conservatives somewhat well, not really somewhat, they move together. You have the Claremont Institute, which is working with this SACR, a far right Christian Nationalist organization, and that they are also at the same time with another think tank, the Heritage Foundation, is trying to push through Project 2025, which starts by getting Donald Trump back in the White House. It is a real threat. These guys aren't doing a great job of really hiding their insanity. So the one thing we have to do is make sure that these people do not get back in a position of power. And we've seen more and more of their freak flag showing. We've seen Donald Trump come out and talk about how he wants to give drug dealers the death sentence. We've heard him talk about how sometimes you just got to lock up your political opponents. We've seen Donald Trump already try to overturn the 2020 election, the fake electors, the stirring his fan base, his radical MAGA cult into storming the Capitol. We've seen what these people want to do already. They're not hiding it anymore. It is clear out in the open. North Carolina currently has a guy running for governor who is an extremist beyond belief. So one of the main things that we can do, we have to get out there and vote. We have to change minds. We might not be able to change the minds of these hardcore MAGA cult members, but what we can do is reach out and target people who are independent voters, people who aren't too far gone. Let me know what you think in the comments.